Welcome to the financial thermostat session for Mind Over Markets. Now, I'm just re-recording this because the other audio went missing. But this session is all about your financial thermostat. Now, some of you may have heard it. There's a lot of info out there on money mindset, a lot of worthiness stuff, a lot of abundance stuff. By now, you know, my framework with this stuff isn't light, surface level. So if you're in, if we're in trading, we're in an industry where you have the potential for uncapped income. You all understand that. Here within TradeHouse, we're not interested in teaching you how to make six figures, how to manage a seven-figure account if you can't sustain it, if you can't compound it, if you can't use that money to then go and create other forms of wealth, right? And there's a lot of money mindset shit out there, but there's not too much on how to sustain it, how to leverage it, how to compound it. And this is where I see so many one-hit wonders in trading come into it. You know, I have no desire to teach you guys to be one-hit wonders with your trading accounts or your funded accounts. We're not here for that. Anyone can get funded. It's not that hard, right? Most people do it by fluke, okay? And then they get on this little high horse of now I'm funded, and then they lose it. And this is the conversation we're talking about, okay? So anyone can get funded. Anyone can make a good trade a couple of times, but I want you guys to fucking make money and keep it and compound it and create wealth with it. Now, we've said in the past, how you make $100 is the same process as how you make $10,000, right? The only thing that's different is the mindset. So yes, the process is the same. The trading strategy is the same. You're pressing the same buttons. It all looks the same. But the only difference is the wealthy identity, okay? Now, there is a very big difference between having a good mindset, but the reality of your life not matching it. And this is where you can, say, SJ, I know all these things. Yeah, I know. I've heard this before, right? But if your reality isn't matching it, if your thoughts are still the same shitty thoughts, then you don't know it. You may have heard it, but you haven't embodied it, okay? So to get wealthy, you need to undergo identity shifts. It's kind of like this shape-shifting process. And like we always say, the person who succeeds in trading isn't who you are right now. This person, who you are, isn't going to get you where you need to be. It's gotten you to the point you're at right now, but I know you want more than that, okay? We know we need to change, we need to grow, we need to evolve. And we often say that your new life is going to cost your old one. Have you accepted that? Okay, so basically to move into this new identity that has all the things that you want, you actually, this change can only happen from a nervous system level, okay? Because an identity level shift is when a nervous system coded belief is transmuted into a new way of relating to yourself in a way that is both conscious and unconscious, meaning that you don't need to consistently uphold or repeat this new belief. It just happens. Okay. It's just present without trying. It is now a part of you. It is now the new thing that is on autopilot. So your subconscious, AKA your nervous system, it now feels safe to uphold this new belief. Okay. It's now your new normal. Now, something I believe to be true is we all have this relationship with money. Some of you disrespect it. Some of you feel scarce with it. Some of you are whatever with it. Right? But I truly believe that your true relationship with money is not revealed until you have money, not when you don't. Okay. It is revealed when you have it. Now, I've been considering what it means to raise our financial thermostat, pondering, why is it so many traders, so many business owners, so many everyday people just still struggle with money, even though they make more? Okay. They desire to make more money, but once they do, their subconscious will always override and it will lead to silly behaviors with money. And it's only now that I realize that a true way to heal your relationship with money, to raise your financial thermostat so you can actually grow, keep, manage, compound all this money and build it into wealth, is we need an identity upgrade. And to do that, we need to do nervous system work, right? And it is a really big process, if I'm being honest. It's about getting your nervous system on board with the new and embracing the new identity, right? Embracing the new energies and the potentials of the unknown to your advantage. So as you navigate all these significant changes in life that you go through, whether it's, like, think about it, whether it's breakups, career shifts, divorce, maybe you're relocating, what else? I don't know, launching a business, learning to trade, okay? you find yourself encountering new facets of your being. And meeting these new aspects of yourself isn't always nice. Something I said on the session was, when you start doing this work of personal growth, you actually feel a whole lot shitter before you start to feel a whole lot better. Okay. So an identity level shifts means you're embracing all these parts and accepting them and consciously choosing to let go of what no longer aligns with you and your authentic self and the person that you're trying to be, while also welcoming and nurturing the new parts of you that you're emerging into. So the concept of a financial thermostat, it's quite an intriguing way to conceptualize our relationship with money, because just as a thermostat, so think of an air conditioner or a heater, right? Just as a thermostat regulates the temperatures in a room, the idea is that we each and all have a subconscious set point for financial success. When we earn above this set point, we may subconsciously sabotage ourselves and return to what feels comfortable. Same thing if we fall below, right? We may buy into scarcity. We may be motivated to work harder, to save harder, to whatever, to bring our account back to a familiar, comfortable, safe level. So this is why, if you've started Rebel with Wealth, this is why I can't just talk about, hey, this is what we're going to invest in. This is what we're going to do. This is, all the money things, the budgeting, the investing things, because this is so much more than money is so much more than just learning how to do the things with money, right? It is about a deep transformation to one's identity and relationship with money. Okay. Now, this transformation is rooted in the workings of our nervous system and our subconscious belief. So, financial thermostat, right? Everyone wants to be wealthy. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to be able to afford what they want and need in life. But the question is, just because we want all those things doesn't mean that we achieve it, do we? Okay. Never forget that your most valuable asset you'll ever have is your mind, and money goes where it feels the most welcome. Money moves to the people who persuade it in a way that it's going to have the most productive home with them, right? Money needs a purpose. Money needs to be put to work. It doesn't just come into our lives for us to spend and consume. Okay. So the really cool thing about this is then we must also understand that none of us actually create wealth, right? We're not the feds. We don't print money. What we do, though, is we do encourage it to come and visit us, and we encourage it to stay. We attract it, right? We multiply it because of our actions and the value that and the use that we give our money, right? But it'll also invade us when we squander opportunity, I suppose, right? It'll flee us when we are desperate and we take actions that are not consistent with our values. Meaning, if you disrespect money, if you disrespect your trading account, if you're just YOLOing, you're over leveraging, over risking, being a machine gun on the charts, of course, money is going to disappear. Of course, your trading account is not going to grow, right? It eludes us when we rush, when we take uncalculated risks, when we neglect it, when we disrespect it. But money will reward those who multiply it, who respect it, who value it, and who invest it. And one thing we notice with traders, right? Get any group of traders together, and you guys probably do this. You just focus about charts. You focus on charts, what pair's doing what. But when you get a group of professionals together, they're discussing trading psychology and money management and wealth creation. Okay. Now, two things I live by. Your success will never exceed your level of self-development, and your level of self-development will rarely exceed your bank balance. So it makes sense. It makes really good fucking sense to work just as hard on your money psych and just psych in general as you do as just executing your trading plans. Because as traders, the goal is to execute our trading plans flawlessly. It's to follow our systems flawlessly, right? And it's in increasing our self-awareness. That's the first step to attaining that goal. It's figuring out why you do it, why you don't, right? But if you are a trader and you're relatively happy with the strategy, your entry, your exit techniques, or whatever, but you've got this little sneaky suspicion that something is standing in between you and your profits that you want, then it's the mind. Okay. So back to the financial thermostat, right? I believe each one of us have a personal success, a personal financial thermostat that is set at a particular level, and it is resetting, and it is setting, it is the setting, I guess, that determines the success that you have. Now, you can be the best at your job, know all about the theory of trading, but if your financial thermostat isn't preset to a higher level, you will never amass a large amount of money. And if you do, you're likely to lose it. This is what we see with funded accounts, right? People have this holy grail of getting funded, yet they're not the type of person that can manage a 6-figure account because they've only ever seen 5 figures in their bank account, 4 figures in their bank account. So naturally, this is now unsafe to the nervous system. They've now seen, 6 figures, 100 grand in a MetaTrader account. You're going to be stupid with that money if you don't have the identity of someone who can sustain that and maintain that. Okay. So it's like the aircon conversation. It'll always bring you back to what your nervous system is comfortable with. Now, there's some people in here that say they have a healthy relationship with money, right? They feel safe with money because they know they can always buy, make more, things like that. But just because you've got a somewhat good relationship with money, how you use your money also determines your success and your relationship with money. Just because you know you can make more doesn't give you a free pass to be a fuckwit with your money, right? To be a fuckwit with your trading account, right? So this is all about the beliefs with money. It's a big conversation, right? Based on the type of income environment, family, country, whatever you've grown up in, you can expect to have limiting beliefs about money. And limiting beliefs are subconscious. So whatever is in our subconscious is automatic and it comes naturally to us. And if 95% of our thoughts, actions, choices, behaviors, whatever come from the subconscious mind, unless you have paid conscious attention to notice and change these limiting beliefs, they're the things running the show. So let's say you grew up in an environment where earning X amount of money was the normal, but earning Y amount of money was a huge deal. Welcome to trading. Okay. You may get into an environment where earning Y, which is the big amount of money, is now the complete norm. Okay. 6-figure months, quarters, years is normal, right? But in normal society, 50, 60, 70, 80 grand years is the norm. So now Y amount of money, the big amount, is now no big deal. Okay. But you are still making in real life just a little over X amount because that's where your money thermostat is set to. It's set to that. Your maximum, like your financial thermostat, is the most amount of money you have ever had in your bank account, right? It is the most amount of money you've ever made. The low point of your thermostat is the least amount you've ever had. Okay. Now, if you earn, say, Y amount of money, so Y is the big amount, X is your normal, and somehow, all this money disappears in expenses and you still end up with the X amount of profit, your subconscious is running the show. This is why lottery winners go broke again after a little while, right? So the thing about your brain and your nervous system is it always wants to keep you safe. It always wants to keep you comfortable, right? So anything that feels too much of something is a danger for it. It can be something good, such as like too much excitement or something terrible or too much fear. Either way, right? Either end of the scale, our brain and our nervous system wants to avoid anything that is unfamiliar and it's going to flag it as danger. Okay. And if we have limiting beliefs that are consistently sabotaging us, unless we get to the bottom of them or get them to the light to become aware of them and change them, nothing's ever going to move for us. Okay. So it's crucial to know about this stuff, right? It's crucial because there's no such thing as good luck and bad luck, right? We get good luck and we get bad luck based on our paradigm, the way we view the world, right? Thoughts we think the most form our beliefs. You know that. And our belief systems form our paradigm. So if you grew up in a family where money was a struggle, living paycheck to paycheck, you heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford it, whatever, that's all programmed your beliefs around money. So consciously, maybe you have learned that it is, that it's possible to earn a big amount of money, that resources are abundant, right? You can know all of those things. But if you haven't reprogrammed your mind, you're still going to be believing the same old programming from your childhood. Okay. And it's that whole thing around, if you think the way you've always thought, you'll always get what you've always got, right? So your belief about, what amount of money is usual to earn for you, what you deserve to make, is based upon that programming. And you can consciously say, oh no, I had a good upbringing, my parents were fine with money, whatever. But if you don't have the money you want, you can't keep it, you can't sustain it, you need to do a little bit of self-inquiry, right? Now, whatever new thing you start, like trading, you subconsciously expect to earn the level income, the level of income that your money thermostat is set to. And in trading, this is an opportunity that gives you the chance to make more, but you might reject it unconsciously. You might think, oh, they can do it. It's impossible for me though. Right. And it doesn't, that you don't feel right because it doesn't feel safe for you and your brain and your nervous system to get on board with the fact that you can actually make more money in this. I was sharing that it was like 2018, I had a 350K year, right? And the more I was exposed to trading and business, the more I was understanding my thoughts and beliefs around money. That I was understanding that it was normal to earn XYZ amount of money. But it got to the end of the year and I had fucking spent it all, right? Every year I have made more and more money from then. But until only a couple years ago, I was still at the same net worth. It was still like my habits hadn't changed, my behaviors hadn't changed. I was making more money, but because I hadn't addressed the beliefs, the habits, the behaviors of how I am with money, it was going in, going out, going in, going out, going in, going out. Okay. My identity was still tied in. I never have enough. I can make more money, but I never have enough. So I had to work really hard to change my beliefs about myself on an identity level. Okay. I've always had quite a healthy relationship with money, but my pitfall, my downfall was honestly, it's a good thing to have. But my dad, I grew up with him saying, money's made round to go round, money's made flat to stack. So as much as that is an empowering belief, it still sabotaged me in the way of, oh, I can just spend because I know I can make more, but it never moved the needle for me. Okay. So you need to work on your self-image. You need to work on how you view yourself overall in the wealthy lens, right? You need to see yourself as a wealthy person who always has more than enough instead of a money focused, living paycheck to paycheck focused. And then you need to act accordingly, right? You need to respect your money. You need to value it. So the change that you're seeking needs to happen on an identity level, not oh, there's this money hack, there's this budgeting hack, there's this, savings hack. Okay. And we're going to focus more on this in the coming sessions because there's levels to this alone. But the first step is always, of course, is awareness about what limiting beliefs you have acquired in the past to make your money thermostat, your success thermostat to be set at the level that it's at. Secondly, you then need to become aware of what thoughts that you think about yourself. Do you actually see yourself as a wealthy person? Even though you're not physically there yet, do you see yourself being there? Have you visualized what it's going to be like when you have had it? Right? Like then you need to set your new income goal and figure out a way of what type of person achieves that. So it's hard to set an income goal with trading because it's not something you can just withdraw a regular wage from. So you could say, I made a post on this morning actually. Everyone's looking for those home runs, those home hitters, those big risk to reward trades. And people think that, a 3 to 5 to 7% account growth every single month is not cool, is not good. If you think that, you're fucking delusional. Okay. Think about the 3 to 5 to 7, the 9% a month, right? Even on a 3%, that compounded on a large scale account, say a large funded account, you can become a multi-millionaire. You need to reframe your money mindset around that as well. You're so focused on hitting these big home runs that you're like, oh, if I'm only doing 3% a month, I can't pull whatever. Like, get over that thought process because you can. It's the social media traders that have you believing otherwise, that you need to hit these big home runs to do whatever, right? Like I said at the beginning, I don't care what you do once. I care about what you do multiple times if it's duplicatable. Okay, if it's consistent. Okay, so that's the type of income goal I want you to set for yourself. All right, and then figure out what type of person achieves that. Who do you need to become in order to achieve that? What characteristics does this person have? How does he or she act? What do you need to change on a daily basis in your thoughts, your habits, your behaviors? Okay, spend a bit of time on that. That was week 1 last week. Now, most people have their thermostat set really low, and this is because we're taught about money by people with money issues and fears around money. And then over time, these issues and fears have become ours. And some people have their thermostat set for millions of dollars. Some have it for fucking thousands. But most of us don't know why we make the choices that we make about money and wealth because the subconscious choices that we make override everything, right? They are the results of programs that we run in our mind that are on autopilot. And while we may not understand why we make the choices we do, all we see then is the end result of these choices, the money left in our bank accounts, the money left in our trading accounts, whatever, right? Or the lack of, but it's still, we only see the end result of these choices. And more often than not, we don't like what we see. Okay. Most people think on the, the similar lines of poor and middle class. We got to shift out of this mindset. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn the aircon on. Classic example, I was sitting in this room uncomfortable because my aircon had turned off. It got really hot. So I had to put the thermostat back on to regulate the room. Classic, classic, classic. Now, I forget what I was talking about, but basically, most traders have this attitude towards money and a general mindset that's just not going to get you to your next level, right? This is if the way they think is the greatest roadblock to their next level. So this is then suggesting that if you reprogram your inner dialogue to reflect the way wealthy people think, you're then going to move the needle a lot more, right? Because your mindset determines your success. You've got a proven strategy. We've proven that time and time and time again, right? Not even TRADEHOUSE, but Richard Wyckoff, ICT, the daddies of smart money, which is the strategy that we're trading. It's really that fucking simple, right? So for you to change your life, you must change your thinking. Okay. And I guess it's also true that you can then create new beliefs at any point that supports where you're trying to go, that's going to accelerate the success that you're looking for. So I want you to just stop and consider for a moment. It's probably true that most of what you've been taught about money and wealth creation has come from people who actually do not possess real wealth themselves. Okay. And it's likely that many of you associate with people, friends, work colleagues, whatever, that may give you hot tips and little opinions on money, but are they truly wealthy? Right? Remember, never take advice or opinions from someone who has not done what you're trying to do or is where you want to be. Okay, because what this means is that your present belief system about money, about wealth creation, are based entirely on what you have learned from unwealthy sources. Okay, wealthy people take advice from wealthy people. Poor people take advice from their poor friends and poor family, right? We are all programmed by parents, teachers, culture, whatever, right? All people who are generally not in the 1%, they're not in the wealthy, they're not in the 5%, right? And because people's beliefs and feelings about money are so strong, they've taught us well, haven't they? Right? We've developed these strong inner laws, but even though these laws are strong, they can also be changed. They can be broken. So these patterns that we learn as a child are not broken until we become aware of them, until we decide to change them. And then with intent, we've got to make whatever effort is necessary to create a new pattern of behavior. And while our current beliefs were created in three ways, okay? They're created in things that we heard, by what we saw, and by specific incidents we were exposed to as a child. So what did you hear from about your parents what am I trying to say? What did you hear from your parents about money and about rich people, right? Did you hear expressions like money doesn't grow on trees? Money is the root of all evil. All these rich people, these billionaires, they're evil, they're greedy, they're selfish. Money doesn't make you happy, right? I'm sure you've heard all these things. And these well-meaning adults that love us who said these things, these were our wealth educators. But it's worth noting that they're not wealthy wealth educators, okay? They don't have a wealthy mindset, okay? If they were, they would not have spoken that way, okay? So I want you to consider, if you have kids, what language are you using around money for your family? Okay, but because we also learn a lot about how to behave in all areas of lives by modeling our parents' behavior. So how did your parents behave with money, right? Did they argue about it? Did they involve you in conversations? Okay. Did one struggle to save while the other one spent lots, right? Were they effective at managing money, or were both useless at it? Okay. It's interesting how many of us end up becoming so much like one or both of our parents in the arena of money. Okay. And then there's the others who tend to like rebel and become the opposite of our parents, because they spent their childhood struggling with feelings of anger and frustration and this poverty mindset. Okay. Now, this is where the role of the subconscious comes into it. What this means is that for most of us, the subconscious programming we received as a child and continues to be running our life is so disempowering, right? Limiting wealth beliefs were instilled in us by what we saw, what we heard, what we experienced, and at the same time were very true. Okay, they were true for us because we were so little, we were a little sponge. But you as a fully functioning adult right now, you also need to shift those beliefs because now you realize that those beliefs are no longer relevant to you today. Okay. And your conscious behavior is everything within your control and the things that you are fully aware of. Your unconscious covers all the motivations, all the processes that lurk below the conscious level, but they still have an effect on your behavior, even though you might be quite unaware of the origins of the thought patterns. So an example of how our unconscious thought patterns could affect our lives is the way in which some people just have this innate drive to self-sabotage. Okay, and I spoke about this in beast mode that I don't believe we self-sabotage. I don't believe we have an inner critic, right? There's a part of you that was burned by you doing something, and now it's a core memory, literally in your nervous system, that is wanting to protect you, right? So your inner saboteur, whatever that fucking word is, saboteur, is still just, it still wants the exact same thing for you as what you say, as what your conscious self wants. It's trying to protect you though. Okay, so I like to call my self-sabotager my self-protector. Okay, even though there's all these people that say they want to be successful, their unconscious mind seeks out opportunities that's likely to cause them damage and derail them, right? And with the markets, right? The markets act as this like stage play, and us traders, we're the script writers. And this is where it can seem like the market is alive and it's the boogeyman and it's out to get you. Okay, not the case. Not the case. And even though the markets are really dynamic and volatile, the markets can seem self-aware from time to time, right? But let me assure you, the market doesn't know who the fuck you are. It doesn't even know you exist. Okay, does not know you exist. So this just goes to show you that on the charts, the enemy lies within. Okay, but so does the seeds that need to become fruitful, whatever I'm trying to say, and grow into the person you're supposed to be. Right? So many people have this inbuilt drive towards self-destruction. We all have that person in our lives that's just consistently fucking dramatic. There's always something wrong relationship drama, crashes their car into a friggin' ditch, gets broken into, whatever. Drama just follows them. Okay. When the unconscious become conscious, it loosens its grip on your behavior patterns. So then all these symptoms that seem to be this outward display are actually because of a deeper rooted issue. And something I've always loved to play with the idea of when it comes to trading is some people just like to lose, so they win by losing money. Okay. So you need to sort out your own mindset, or the market is going to manifest your darkest thoughts. It's going to manifest everything that you don't want to happen. Okay. And even though it's sometimes painful, the process of making your thoughts explicit, not illicit. Is that the same thing? I don't know. Is necessary, because in order to become fully aware and unaffected by any unconscious undercurrents, you need to become self-aware. Okay. And the more self-aware you become, the less likely your trading results will be damaged by your unconscious. Right? So our goal as traders is to carry out, the flawless execution of our trading plans. But sometimes we delve into the core, like we need to dive into the core of our individual psychology to be able to achieve that goal. It's like when you open your bank balance, your trading account, it just hovers around this same level, right? This is the thermostat. Right? Does your investment income or your business income or, whatever, does it hit a wall and you plateau? Right? You should be saving, but you're not able to put money aside to invest, even though you should. Okay, you make more money, but yet you seem to have more money. There's too much month at the end of your money, right? There's so many non-supportive beliefs about money that we need to, that I guess create unconscious responses that create negative emotions that then lead to the self-sabotaging behaviors around wealth building. And this is something that I like to call perception projection, right? Your experience is a direct reflection of your consciousness. Your experience of trading is a direct reflection of your consciousness, right? But you can choose to think differently, and you can choose to make that choice at any fucking moment, right? You owe it to yourself to master your own psyche, or you're going to suffer the consequences. Now, another way to raise your financial thermostat is I need you to consider who the fuck you hang out with, right? You're the average of your top 5 friends. You're the average of their weight, their income, everything about it, right? Like when my friends and I go out, we've got bank card roulette, right? We don't fuck around with, oh, you just transfer me that. It's put your card in a bowl and whoever's picked pays. Okay, now I know that sounds ludicrous, but this is like when you step into a wealthy identity, when your nervous system is think of your nervous system and this whole financial thermostat thing as like a radio frequency. If you want to listen to Triple J in my town, it's like 99.5. I'm not going to chime into 99.1, am I? To get that frequency. This is how this works. Okay. You need to hang out with people that are where you want to go. Wealthy people take advice from people who are wealthier than them. Average people take advice from their friends and family. And remember, if you wouldn't trade spots with them, don't be asking them for advice. Okay. There are a lot of people in our lives that love us and give well-intended advice, but it's just theory. They haven't lived it. And it's very dangerous if you take advice from them. And there will be people in your life that you'll continue to love, but they may not be the ones you need to hang around to drive you to your next level. How many times have you said to your friends or you've told them your goals and, you're like, I'm not drinking, and they try and like peer pressure you to drink, right? How many times have you said, guys, I'm saving money, but they try and convince you to come out on the weekend? Your friends are so fucking important. So important. So you may love them, but they may not be the ones you need to hang out with to drive you to the next level, right? You want to hang out with people who are walking the walk. Now, a question in last night's chat was, where do you find your people? Guys, I found my people online in trading, and I was friends with them for like 2-3 years before I met in person. Jenna found me on YouTube or Facebook, right? We didn't meet until like 2 or 3 years later, but she became my best mate instantly. You have a Discord full of 100+ people that are on the same mission as you. Start linking up with them. Start creating friendships with them. You can't complain you're lonely and that you have no friends and friends don't support what you do when you've got a whole fucking Discord that you can befriend, right? So you got to understand that not everyone will also support your success. Your success is going to be a mirror. Some people will be inspired by you. Others it's going to piss off. But for the most people, your success will make some of them look very closely at themselves. And if there are parts of themselves that they don't like, they're going to look at you and see what they don't have and why they think they cannot. And then they're going to blame you for that. Okay, so be vigilant, right? The only taste success some people have is when they can take a bite out of you. Okay, but if you hold yourself back, they're not going to notice. The only person that's going to be hurting is you. Stop playing small. Right? You need to stretch yourself. If you really want to become a really fucking beast trader, you need to step up. You need to grow up in sense of, when I say grow up, I mean grow into the person that you're trying to be. Yes, it's uncomfortable, right? But you can't cling to who you are if you are trying to be someone new, right? So to change your results, you don't just have to change what you're doing, you have to change who you're being. And you can only grow as far as your greatest fear. If you can't go any further than that, you can't go any further than that, right? But here's the thing with that as well. Often your biggest fears is one that turns up disguised as the next big opportunity that you're presented with, right? If you want to walk through that door of opportunity and step into that, whatever version of you, then you need to move through the fear. Okay. That's an uncomfortable success secret, right? But the thing that's cool about that is the fear isn't real. You're just uncomfortable. You're growing, right? That's the truth. Okay. When you decide with every core of your being that this is the person you want to become, then the fear fades away. Okay. You're all here because you want to be a trader. But the question actually is, I don't care what you want to be. The question is, have you decided you want to be a trader, right? The Latin root word, let me Google it. Give me a sec. The Latin root word of decide means to cut away, to cut off all other possibilities, right? Yet some of you hanging on to a backup plan. And I'm not saying, I know there's some of you that actually really want their jobs and like their jobs and want to keep them. I'm not saying that. But I want you to maybe consider, is there a potential that you're not growing as quick as you want or going as far as you want because you've got that little safety net? And as I've said before, trading is far easier to learn when you have a job, but I'm just talking about identity level here. Okay, is there a part of you that still, I just trade on the side? I trade on the side, I do it as a hobby, right? You got this hobby mindset. Okay. One thing that you're going to have to do is you'll need to cut away some parts of you that you can't afford to indulge in anymore. Okay. If trading is what you want, you got to cut the fat, essentially. You got to cut some telly time, cut some fucking whatever time, cut out the self-doubt, have a cup of concrete. When you fully decide, when your awareness has shifted and you've made that decision, watch what fucking happens. Right? So the elephant in the room is our subconscious sabotage of wealth and profits and success, right? We literally do not know how to handle being a consistently profitable trader, which may conflict with our older beliefs, our older identity, our programming, okay? And making money easily and consistently, as our bank account builds, as our trading account builds, can be a significant shift in our beliefs and our values and identities, okay? But this new state of mind is so foreign to us, okay? So as a result, the survival mechanisms, the old programming, the fear of the unknown is going to kick in. So the question here is, I just asked you, are you ready? Have you decided to be a trader? Yes or no, right? The next question is, cool, are you then prepared for success? Right? Because you may have the fortitude, the mental, whatever, the determination, the drive, the commitment, the willingness to handle the struggle that this comes with. I know all of you have these attributes, but what we lack is a clear image of ourselves as we grow wealthy. So not only do we lack a clear image, but with clarity, it's also out of harmony with our family, our beliefs, our values, our core identity that currently is. So it's quite simple, really. You say you want all the things and you know all the things, yet the reality, right? Your reality isn't matching up. So guys, don't invest years of fucking struggle and hard-earned money without creating a clear path to wealth that is in harmony with your values, with your family, and ultimately the life you want to live. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a self-assessment thought exercise. I guess it's a practical one too, but this will take some thought and some time, but it's going to expand your self-awareness around your success limits. So get out a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to create 2 lists of people that you know personally or you're familiar with. So just write column A, column B. So for column A, for this list, I want you to write the names of 3 people you know or you know of that have their financial thermostat set at their current income or wealth, right? So this person should be, the person that's on this list is, they're just stable, right? Their income has never gone above this amount. Like if you imagine visiting them in, say, 5 years' time, you're pretty confident that their financial situation will be no better, right? They have dreams about wealth, but their behaviors don't reflect their dreams. Okay, so I want you to write down 3 people for that list. Now for list B, I want you to write the names of 3 people you know or know of that have their financial thermostat set much higher than their current income or wealth. So the person that is going to be on this list is, they've had a lot of past success, right? If you imagine visiting them in 5 years' time, their life is going to be completely different, right? Their financial situation will have improved. Okay. Their behavior reflects their dreams for increased wealth. Okay. So once you've got that, just pause this. And once you've got that, right? Now answer this question. What is the difference between the people in list A and people in list B? And I want you to write this out in as much detail possible. But the challenging part about this exercise is, if your friends or your family were to take this exercise, in their opinion, right or wrong, would they put you on list A or list B? And if you don't know, give that some careful fucking thought before you answer that. Now, ask yourself if you're avoiding the answer, right? If you answered honestly or if you answered to be right. Very interesting, right? So I guess finally then, what insights did this little exercise give you about your own ability to step into trading success? Now you will see a Google Doc attached to this video. That is a list of shadow work prompts related to money. Please do that ASAP.